Welcome to the RV Living Show.
Hey guys, yeah. Today we're going to be sharing about going paperless in your RV life. Stay tuned for 3 great tips to help tame the paper in your RV.
The RV life. We're surrounded with the message that it's a life you have to wait until retirement to have, and a life that only some can afford. And while it might be reality for those who want to believe that's true, we're on a mission to change that mindset and help people to stop wondering and start wandering to create a life they love.
Join us in conversations about how to design your RV life. We're Bryan and Luann Street, and this is the RV Living Show.
Hey, welcome back. We're excited you decided to join us today. So this RV Living Show today is all about 3 tips for going paperless in your RV. So a lot of times, especially when you're full-time, this means a lot, right?
It does.
But even if you're RVing part-time or for extended periods of time, this can still help you out. So having a paperless system for your RV will also reduce your weight, reduce your clutter, and give you peace of mind so that you're going to be able to find everything with ease. So we're going to be talking about some tips today for that.
Yeah, paper can easily, we find it's so amazing how fast it can collect in your, anywhere.
It really,
especially your RV.
It really can. It can. Well, I mean, you pull into a campground, you've got all the things from the campground, you've got the map of the campground. Sometimes you want to keep it, sometimes you don't. Like, it all depends on how you want to handle these things. And so we just want to enable you today to keep these things and be able to find them later. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is why you should be paperless in your RV. So that's really important to know why you even want to do this in the first place, because honestly, coming from a background of a filing cabinet and putting paper in it, it just, after having that habit for years and years, going paperless is a little bit harder. And so for those of you who haven't started a paperless journey at all, it is a bit of a change. But so we want to talk about why we want to do this.
Yeah, I think one of the things is weight. You think about one piece of paper in itself is nothing there. But when you have stacks of paper, how much weight it actually adds to your rig. If you think back when you had an old filing cabinet, you'd pull it open. You remember how heavy that drawer was?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weight to paper, and just by laying a couple of sheets here or there, that's not a problem. But when they start stacking up and they're everywhere, and you think about, that's extra pounds you can shed out of your RV. You don't need to haul with you.
That's for sure. And also the whole perspective of reducing clutter, right? In your RV, you're in a small space, and the habit, at least it is in our life, is sometimes to just shove something somewhere to get it out of the way because it's laying around, or maybe we're pulling in the slides and we're getting ready to go off, and you take everything that's in your way, and instead of putting it away properly, you're shoving it places. So
you need to put things away, especially after you just mentioned the campgrounds. When we go into a campground, and a lot of time they'll give you like a stack of papers, the map, like you said, and all the activities they're doing. And a lot of times I'll stick these somewhere not thinking, and then I'll go back later and there'll be 2 or 3 of them there, and I think, why do I even keep this?
Or I get over exuberant and I just throw them away, and then he's like, well, where's the map? I want to see where the garbage is. oh, I didn't want that anymore. So anyway, going paperless also can give you a peace of mind. If you know where to find what you've put away as a paperless document, then you're always going to have that peace of mind. You're going to be able to go back and find it, and we're going to give you a bunch of tips on doing that today. In fact, the show might be a little long because we actually have some really cool things to share with you if it all comes out the way I'd like it to. So the next thing we're going to be talking about, to go paperless, you're going to need to create a system.
Yes, you are.
And that system is 3 things. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. You want to define what you want to keep. You also want to figure out what kind of cloud storage you're going to use. and you're going to decide how you're going to get it into the cloud. So let's talk about defining what you want to keep.
Right. Well, for me, I got a project I've started on that I haven't finished yet. I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah.
Now, this is when you buy your RV. We just, this is ours only a couple years old, but you get this from your manufacturer. Everybody knows what this is. This is, you might have one of these, you might have two of these. They're good about giving you a lot of paper and a lot. This thing is, quite heavy, and the size of it, you have to store this somewhere, and you might as well plan on getting rid of it. But what I've done through this is as we travel, I obviously haven't done enough of it, but go through it and download as many things you can onto like a PDF document.
So instead of taking the document that's in here and pulling it out, if you go to the manufacturer's website, Bryan's found that you can actually download the PDF right there.
Right. Anything I look for, or like, for instance, steps broken on RV the other day, I didn't go to this book to find the information on the steps. I went to the manufacturer of the steps. I found the model number. I downloaded a PDF and got all the information. So I put that away in my file. So that will already be stored for when I don't have to scan it in later. But another thing you can do here is, if you got a lot of these papers, you could actually scan in and put into a document somewhere called your owner's manual, and then that would be out of the way. And then you could put this somewhere. Obviously, you don't have to take it with you.
Right, because you have everything.
Now this is going to normally take a couple of days, or maybe even, if you scan a little bit here and there, it may take a couple of weeks. Obviously, I've had this for over almost 2 years now, and I haven't completed it yet. So maybe I should get on that.
maybe you should. Maybe you should. So that is one of the things that we want to keep, especially as RVers. That is an important component that you're going to want to have as a paperless option. If you still like paper and you want to carry it with you and you have a space in your bay to do that, then do that. But if you don't, that is a project that you could do. Of course, the other things that you're going to want to keep may be receipts. Like, you go somewhere, you buy something. Because this is our home, our full-time receipts are important to us. So if we go to Best Buy, buy a pair of headphones, there's a warranty on them. You need that receipt if they break or whatever, you're gonna want to keep those kinds of things. Your mail, your bills and things that come in the mail, you're gonna want to keep those things, but you don't want to have a stack of them somewhere, and then once you're done with them, try to put them in a file somewhere, because it just more and more paper, more and more weight, more and more clutter, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. So the second part of the system is creating a cloud storage. I think a lot of us already know what cloud storage is, but just for the sake of this video, in case you don't, cloud storage is it's a file storage that's digital. So Dropbox is one, Google Drive is one, OneDrive from Microsoft is one. Pretty sure Apple has one. We're Android and Microsoft people, so we don't have Apple, but I'm sure that they have some sort of Apple Cloud or iOS Cloud or whatever they call their cloud, iCloud, I think it's called. So when you get a device like your phone or Gmail or Windows or Apple, you get a certain amount of cloud storage that comes with those types of things that you automatically own when you have different devices or services. So that becomes your new filing cabinet. That is something you're going to want to determine as you start to go paperless. You want to go paperless all in one spot. You don't want to have files in Drive, files in OneDrive, files in iCloud, or files over in Dropbox, because it's not effective. I want you to think about your cloud storage as one solution for being that area where you're going to go look for the things that you put there. And then you're going to name your folders according to your file system, your financial, your personal, your receipts, whatever means something to you. Think about how you filed them before and how maybe you can file them now. It's really not any different. It's just thinking about that instead of opening in a drawer and having paper files, you're going to scan these things in and put them into your cloud storage. All of the things that I said for cloud storage come with a certain amount of gigs already that come free, like with your Gmail.
Right.
So he's got probably 15 gigs with his Gmail. I've got 15 gigs with my Gmail. I think we accumulated some Dropbox over time. When they first came out, we got more and more gigs of that. OneDrive automatically came with my work stuff. So here again, it's nailing down where do you want it to be in one location, so you're not looking all over the place. So we chose to go with Dropbox, and you can buy more cloud storage. So once you get started on your paperless process, if you need more storage, you can buy it accordingly to how much that you're going to need to have. It's really not that expensive. I think we have 2 terabytes in Dropbox for $100 a year. And for us, that's peace of mind. We don't have to carry the paper. We can just go into our files and get them. All of these files can also be synced to your computer, so you can actually set them up on your hard drive that also sync to the cloud back and forth. This is a great way of doing things. And the problem is that when you're full-time, you're not always connected to Wi-Fi. And so there, you have to maintain this process a little bit more, but that's for another lesson. So the last part of, after you decide on your file storage, you decide what you're going to keep, right? And then you decide on your file storage. Now you're going to decide how you're going to get it into the cloud. Like, how am I going to get this piece of paper up there? Well, automatically, I think the first thing that comes into your head is that you got to have a scanner.
Have a big scanner, right?
A big scanner, like, you know, back in my office at work, scanning it in, you know, or even at home, back when scanners became more and more prevalent, we had a scanner at home. A lot of, you know, the 𝐷𝐸𝐳 ones, or the receipt scanners that you can get, all those kinds of things have software that's integrated. We chose to not do anything like that. And as we started RVing, we realized more and more that the easier it is to maintain this system, the more likely we are to use it. So the thing that we really like to use the most for things that are everyday receipts and things to be able to get into our cloud system, I want to show you the app that we use. Now, this app is probably also available on iOS. So just search it. It's called Tiny Scanner. And I'm going to actually try to show you how I actually use this scanner. So let me share my screen, and hold on. Sorry, guys. I was all set up, and then.
Well, while you're getting set up, there's one thing I do want to point out about the files for your RV is that since I started using this system, it's made it so easy to work on things or find the information that I need. I actually store all the files in 2 places. I keep everything on my computer, and then I keep everything in our Dropbox as a copy. And the reason I keep it on my computer is that if I'm somewhere in a campground and we don't have Wi-Fi service, I can get to the owner's manual, or I can get to any other file that I need. And it's worked out really well, so I can get in there quickly. I can find what I need. I don't have to drag the big book out, and it has made life a lot better.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. This is my phone, and I want to show you this app on my phone. Oops, don't want to do that. We want to go back here. So we have this Tiny Scanner app right here. And when I open it up, you can see I already have a document in here. So this is super easy. I love this thing. I was so happy when we found it. So I'm actually going to take, hold on, let me show you. I'm going to take this receipt right here, okay? And I'm going to scan it into my phone, and I'm going to show you how easy this is. So I'm going to click on this little widget right here, which is my camera. You also can click on the picture, and so you can actually put pictures from your phone through this scanner up into your cloud service. So, but first we're going to start with the receipt. So I'm actually going to hit the button, and you can see I've got the receipt on my table, and I'm going to kind of balance it in, and I'm going to take a picture of it. And as you can see, it outlines the size of what I'm doing. If I did a full-on 8.5 by 11, it's going to show that 8.5 by 11. It's going to give me lines. You can see up here at the top, it's kind of thinking that this is how big it is. So if I wanted to move it down and get the whole receipt, I can do that. If I want to square up the top or change the shape, I can do that.
Or make it smaller as well.
Yeah, I can even totally make this even smaller by bringing it up.
Maybe you don't need all the information.
Right, and you just want that one little spot. That's a great point. Then you hit this button in the bottom, the check mark, and there I have this picture, or now it's a PDF actually, of that receipt. And you can see by these things on the bottom, you can make them darker so you can see it better, or you can make it lighter if you need that. And then once you get it exactly how you want it to look, you click the check mark down here and it saves it. And now that's a document, but this is not in your cloud storage yet. You need to come up here and you need to name it. So we're going to name this. And this is where I encourage you to name it something that you're going to be able to search and find again. Don't leave it doc March 17th. You're not going to remember that you scanned this in on March 17th. So you want to name it something important. I'm going to put test here, and I am going to put the date, 3/17/21. And I'm going to click this check mark right here. And if I don't like what I typed, you can click the X, but I'm going to click the check mark. And there I have my document and it's named. But this is fine. You can leave it here. It's in your phone. But if your phone storage goes away, you are never going to be able to get this back again. So what you want to do is you want to click down here on the share button and you want to find your cloud storage. So before you go through this process, you're going to make sure that you have the app for the cloud storage that you have chosen, whether it be Google Drive, whether it's OneDrive, whether it's Dropbox. If you like to save things in Evernote, you can do that too. Or you can actually, there's other options there, but the cloud storage for us, we like that the best because we know it goes up there and we don't have to think about it anymore. So I'm going to click on my Dropbox and it's going to open up my Dropbox. And I'm going to find the folder that I want to put it in. And it happens to be this one. So I'm just going to click add. Whoops, I have to click add on my phone, not on my computer screen. And so now that is up in the cloud and I don't have to think about it anymore. So I actually could delete it off of here right now. If I wanted to, I could actually click delete and get it out of here because then I know that I uploaded it. Or you can create a folder on your Tiny Scanner where you pull these documents into already uploaded to the cloud. And then that way, if you did take a bunch of them, you would have that ability to see what you scanned and what you saved and what you didn't save.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can open this document back up like I did right there. And if I want to click another picture of, let's say there's 2 pages to something that you want to do, you save it and I save it again. And I have 2 places in this document that now I have 2 pages. And so you can actually add to your one document over and over again.
Yeah, one thing you want to make sure you do, it is saved on your Dropbox, wherever you save it, before you delete it.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely do that. Yes. So I hope that was helpful. The iOS one, I looked at it. It probably works exactly the same way for those of you who have Apple. So this is the way that we love to stay paperless. So when we come back from the store, we went to Best Buy, we bought those headphones, we want to keep it. We take a picture of the receipt right away before it gets lost in the RV, and I save it, I put it up in Dropbox, and then when they break, I can go back and say, hey, here's our receipt, and I named them headphones, Best Buy, so I can search by for both ways in my cloud storage, and then I can return them. So
a date's also good to put on. Like
yes, right.
Put that date on.
Put the date on there. But remember, you can search by date, but you're not going to remember the date. But the date is important probably for when you actually did it. You may need that information. So that was a lot. Sorry, I hope that was helpful, though. I hope that was helpful. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about is how you're going to use your system, right? You're going to make it a habit, because this is the thing. You're used to coming in and you're, having your receipts. They're shoved in your purse, ladies, or men, they're in your wallets. And if you can make it a habit, maybe it's one day a week you do a clean out. Maybe it's the moment you walk in, if you want to make it a habit, touch it once and do something with it. And that way you don't have to think about it. But that is something that if you can make it a habit, you're going to make it easier. You're also going to want to make it easier, right? Having the app is huge. Having a scanner that you have to pull out is going to make it less likely for you to actually
too much work, right?
It's too much work. And now we do have a scanner, because I do keep one of those because of our profession. For the doctor's office work that I do, sometimes the documents have to be scanned in very pristinely. Since this is a picture turned PDF, they may not always look quite as professional if you're doing it for work. So we do have a scanner. In the blog post that's going to come with this video next week, it'll have a link to the scanner that we do have and use. But we use this tiny app 100% of the time, unless it's something really, really important. In fact, I would like to not have to carry that scanner with us.
Right. I mean, the little app has worked so well. I mean, it's easy to use. It's quick. You know, you can sit there and you can scan a bunch of receipts really fast.
So let's talk for a minute about the things you do want to keep in paper, right? You can't scan your passports. Although I have heard that by scanning them, if you at least had them with you while you travel on your phone, if you did lose your physical ones, it's better than not having them at all. But you can't use that as a substitute. You're still going to have things that are paper that are important to you. Your Social Security cards, you're going to have your passports.
There's certain things you want to keep. We like to travel plan on our planner, which is paper.
I mean, so we are paper people. So don't get me wrong. Everything's not scanned, right?
Everything is not scanned. We just try to eliminate what we don't need to carry.
That's for sure. So our travel planner is definitely one of the paper things that we choose to use paper-wise. But we're constantly aware of how much paper we're accumulating in the RV for those first three reasons, right? Reducing weight, reducing clutter, and peace of mind.
Yeah, maybe there's a good book you like to read from time to time. You keep a couple of books is not a problem, you know, just when you don't want to keep a library in there. But
right, for sure. That's paper.
That's paper.
Which then comes your e-reader, right? So, all right, guys. So we're those are the things. Oh no, I have one more thing. Okay, so we wanted to make it easy, right? So you want to come in, you want to scan your receipt, you want to save it to your cloud, you want to name it the right thing. And the last thing is if this was information that had our personal stuff on it, what would we want to do with it, Bryan?
We don't shred that.
We want to shred it. And so shredding is another office thing that you could possibly invest in. We have a very small shredder, and we do this on purpose because we only shred personal information. This receipt has no personal information on it. Once I scanned it, we would throw it away and know that we had it for the future. But if it's got your name, your birth date, your prescriptions, whatever personal information, your Social Security number, you don't want to get out there, your bank statements, if you keep them in paper and then you scan them, you're going to want to shred those. So the blog post that also is going to be with this video next week when we post this, I think it goes live on Friday, the post does. And it's the same name, 3 tips for going paperless. We have a link in there to the shredder we use, the scanner we use. We have a link to this app. We have a link to RV weight safety so that you understand why it's important for RV weight and why paper is one of the big contributing factors to more weight in your RV.
Definitely one of them, for sure.
So that would be really handy to go back and read the article. What we do here in the RV Living Show Live is different than is in our blog post a lot of times. We actually give either more tips in here, or if the blog post is written from a different perspective, it's nice to consume both of them. But so what we'd like you to do this week is to join our Facebook group. And that way we can have more conversations and, tips about the things that we're talking about. And if you're not part of our free Facebook group yet, it's called Stop Wondering and Start RVing. And you can find it here at this URL. We'd love for you to join us there. we're getting ready to ramp up and do some really cool things in there. So we're encouraging people, as many people as possible, to go ahead and get in there. So we're going to tell you what's happening next week. Next week, we are going to talk about, this is why we don't travel every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that.
There's a lot of reasons for that. So join us next week on our channel, either YouTube, if you're watching it there, on Facebook, or in our Stop Wandering group. We do stream into there. So, but now we're going to go to the comments. Let's see who's with us. Okay, so Doug said, oh, let me start at the top. Good morning. Joanne says, can't wait to get your tips. Oh, well, good. I hope those were helpful. I hope those were helpful. And Doug says, file, LOL, pile. Don't mess with my piles. I know. Like, you're either a piler or a filer, or you're a shover or you're a storer. So there's lots of ways to look at that. Brian's more of a shover than I am. I'm more of a storer.
I actually put things somewhere and I don't remember where to put them.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the worst thing you can do in your RV. It absolutely. We've lost more things in 300 square feet than we ever did in our 2,000 square foot house.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's amazing. Oh man. iCloud, Doug says. Yes, thanks, Doug. Okay, Kimberly says Android. Yes, Tiny Scanner is iOS, but what? Did you go? iOS Notes can scan to Oh, see, perfect. See, that's an excellent solution for you. Doug says iOS Notes can help you with that. So it's the same kind of idea. And that is a great thing to do. And that is what you're looking for, is to scan to a PDF. Not end up with it as a picture, because that's not going to do you a lot of good. Not to mention it's bigger. It's a bigger file when it's a JPEG or a PNG than a PDF.
PDF is smaller for sure.
So it is a free app, Kimberly. It's free. It is both. I think both of them are. There's probably some upsell in there at some point. I didn't actually. I was so happy with how the free version looked, I didn't explore more, so I haven't needed to upgrade. Let's see. Doug says, when teaching, used Scanner Pro all the time, as it allows for easy creation of multi-page PDFs. Okay, that's a good tip. Kimberly says, very helpful. Habit. I know. See, it's hard because you're used to doing it a different way, and that creating those habits, that's like the key. It's the key to everything. It's the key to everything in your life.
Definitely got to change your habit.
Unfortunately. Travel planner. Yes, Kimberly. Thank you. She loves our travel planner. We do too. I don't know where I'd be without it. Like I said one time, we created it for ourselves. Lloyd says, good tips. Thank you. Thank you. Anne says, scanning makes a lot of sense. Yes, thank you. And my problem is, Annie says, I just have to get going on all the scanning project. And yeah, it does. It's hard. And it does become a project. And so that is something to think about.
Yeah, once you get it down to a manageable size, it's easy to do week by week.
Yes.
But you got to get it there first.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And I throw away a lot, because even if you put it in a pile over here for a week, and then you go back through it and you're like, well, why did I even save that in the first place? So I always do a big walk around and make sure that the paper is distributed properly, whether it's scanned or shredded or in the trash, before we actually get up and travel again, because that is, when the weight matters a lot, is driving down the road. So Elisa says she downloaded the Tiny app. Oh, awesome. And Sharon Marie says another fabulous app is Scannable. Okay, great. Yeah, I figured there's probably a ton of them out there. I just wanted to show what we had used and worked, but
whatever works.
So Teresa says, give us examples for the names of receipts. Store name, date, something else. Okay, so let's go back to my my headphones. We bought headphones at Best Buy. Okay, so I would name them Best Buy headphones and the date that I did it, because then when I go into my cloud storage and into my receipts, I would be able to go, well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for headphones. Or if I remembered that I bought it at Best Buy, I could search Best Buy.
Search Best Buy.
So that is, yeah, the store and what it is, and just make it as familiar to you as you can.
A date also helps, because if you can remember that you bought it like in June,
March, June, yes,
of last year, you can go back and say, search that just date range
for that month of June, and then you might be able to narrow it down that way. Sharon Marie says, I'm not a traveler yet, but I've got to scan my home items so I can ditch the big filing cabinet. I know, yes, it's true. And I had gone to Dropbox about a year before we actually went full time, and it was very helpful. And my biggest tip, this is my biggest tip ever, people, is start now, stay current. Don't say, I have to go back and start back then. You want to start right now and stay current, and then go back and start moving your stuff in. And then that way you're going to close the gap, because otherwise all it is just an endless project that you're never going to get done.
Yeah, if you start in the back, you'll feel like you never can catch up.
Yeah, I've actually done that, and that's when I totally made the motto, start current, stay current, and then go back. Excellent way to store all kinds of notebooks is Evernote. Yes, in fact, I put a lot of my travel planning stuff in Evernote. I really liked how that whole thing works. It is a really good one, Doug. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, websites. Yes, it is. That's very cool. It can even capture websites, full or parts, and emails, most anything you want to view using your browser. And also the paid version lets you sync across multiple devices. Yes, and that's where I probably dropped the ball on that, is I didn't go to the paid version because I wasn't sure how I was going to keep using it, because I used Keep also for Google. And since Google, I already have cloud storage there, I didn't have to pay more. So it really kind of depends on what you're looking for. But again, if you can narrow it down to one thing that you're using, and paying for it is worth it. If that's how you're going to create all of your stuff, paying for it is definitely worth it.
Get the premium version.
So Kimberly says, not so intimidating that way too. That's right. That is right. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I hope this has been helpful to everyone. And so again, we're going to be back next week with this is why we don't travel every day. We're going to be telling you why we don't do it every day, because a lot of people have that misconception that because you're full-timers, you're just out there driving around. But there are lots of reasons why, and so we're going to share those with you next week. So thanks for joining us. We have really enjoyed this time with you, and we'll see you next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the RV Living Show.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us for the RV Living Show. We hope this episode helps you in creating an RV life you love.
Until next time, we encourage you to stop wandering